broad strokes, we need to really discuss the Thousand Year War, and we really need to understand when sin came into the world and how, and we need a lot more context to what it was like before the war. We know that Bavel had the power because it took summoners to create flames, but then when the Al Bhed were created, and they weren't called the Al Bhed, the Bedals, they could make flame without the need of a summoner, so Bavel's power waned, and then Zanarkand kind of rose to prominence. There is an era of old lords, Lucera, gods. Some people believe, some people don't believe. However, Yuna has a conference with one of those gods, so we kind of need that. I don't necessarily need the novella to be in the game, right? Because I do believe content can stand alone, and however you feel about content standing on itself, that is kind of a you thing, because it's hard to push to someone the idea that content may not come from a video game, even though it's a video game world. It can come from outside, like Final Fantasy 15 did Brotherhood, the anime, did a movie. Final Fantasy 7 had spin-off games. So it's however you feel about that. I personally don't need a direct translation of the novella into the game. However, some snippets of clarity from what happened in it, I'll take in the form of like spheres, like we did with Jex spheres. I will take that. I don't want to play what happened in the novella, even though I think it would be dope, especially the scene Tidus running through space and time, almost like running on a beach, and I mean, you have to read it and visualize it, but that would be really cool to see. But I don't necessarily need to see it. Now, the audio drama stuff, that is something I would want to see, because to me, the time frame in which X3 would take place, it would be about 2 years after the events of the novella. So and I figured the novella took place within a span of 6 months, most likely less, of the events of X2. I'd see some growth, Videl being a little older, Wakka's kid, so you'll be able to visually see that. So that's kind of where I figured the time takes place, and I want to see the Yuna and Tidus banter, because Tidus at that point had died and Yuna brought him back, and that's something that no one's really done outside of the Farplane in terms of the physical sense, and then now everything in the Farplane almost has been coming back, almost as if they are real. I know the description is that they are real. However, I take issues with that, and I think they're more ephemeral than that. But that's kind of going to wrap up everything for what I want to see from Final Fantasy X3. That is nowhere near everything, but I do want this video to be watched and won't make it 3 hours and expand on all the ideas. I hope you're able to keep pace with me a little bit and understand where I'm coming from with the ideas and the breakdowns. And I wanted to create a video this time and not do what I've been doing. However, we will return to the lore through most definitely, because I love Final Fantasy 15, and once I finish everything with 10, I definitely want to move to 15 being that next game I really can go deep with lore and ideas and everything. But since the game isn't technically finished yet, always gotta wait for that and do all of that. I also play Final Fantasy 14. Not 100% sure if it's a stream game. Put anything down in the comments if you want to see something. I got no problem with that, but I'm gonna get back to other video types. I'm GK. Have a good day.
Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show.